Milady Esthetics State Board Test. What does OSHA stand for? Occupational Safety and Health Administration was created by the U.S. Department of Labor to regulate and enforce safety and health standards to protect employees in the workplace. OSHA. This regulates employee exposure to potentially toxic substances and inform employees about the possible hazards of materials used in the workplace. Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1970. This requires that chemical manufacturers and importers assess and communicate the potential hazards associated with their products. Hazard Communication Standard or HCS. This contains information compiled by the manufacturer about product safety. Material Safety Data Sheet or MSDS. Registers all types of disinfectants sold and used in the United States. EPA. What does EPA stand for? Environmental Protection Agency. Chemical products that destroy all bacteria, fungi, and viruses, but not spores, on surfaces. Disinfectants. This is effective for cleaning blood and bodily fluids. Hospital disinfectants. This means that an item is made or constructed of a material that has no pores or openings and cannot absorb liquid. Non-porous. An abnormal condition of all or part of the body, or its systems or organs, that makes the body incapable of carrying on normal function. Disease. What was the bacteria that caused over 100 clients in one California salon to develop serious skin infection in their legs after receiving a pedicure? Mycobacterium fortuitum. The invasion of body tissues by disease-causing pathogens. Infection. The methods used to eliminate or reduce the transmission of infectious organisms. Infection control. The 4 types of potentially harmful organisms: bacteria, fungi, viruses, parasites. This is caused by pathogenic organisms that enter the body. Infectious disease. A mechanical process, scrubbing, using soap and water to remove all visible dirt, debris, and many disease-causing germs from tool, implements and equipment. Cleaning. The process of underscore destroys most, but not necessarily all, harmful organisms on environmental surfaces, not effective against spores. Disinfecting. Be sure to mix and use disinfectants according to what? The instructions on the label. One-celled microorganisms that have both plant and animal characteristics. Bacteria. Harmless organisms that may perform useful functions. Non-pathogenic. These bacteria are harmful microorganisms that can cause disease or infection in humans when they invade the body. Pathogenic. Round-shaped bacteria that appear singly, alone, or in groups. Cocci. Pus-forming bacteria that grows in clusters like a bunch of grapes. Staphylococci. This bacteria causes abscesses, pustules, and boils. Staphylococci. Pus-forming bacteria arranged in curved lines resembling a string of beads. Streptococci. This bacteria causes strep throat and blood poisoning. Streptococci. This bacteria is spherical and grows in pairs. Diplococci. This bacteria causes pneumonia. Diplococci. Short rod-shaped bacteria. Bacilli. Most common bacteria and causes tetanus, lockjaw, typhoid fever, tuberculosis, and diphtheria. Bacilli. Spiral or corkscrew-shaped bacteria. Spirula. Bacteria that causes syphilis, STDs, and Lyme disease. Spirula. Slender, hair-like extensions for locomotion, moving about. Flagella. Transmission of blood or bodily fluids through touching. Direct transmission. Transmission of blood or body fluids through contact with an contaminated object. Indirect transmission. Non-scientific synonym for disease production organism. Germs. Organisms that grow, feed, and shelter on or in other organisms. Parasites. Various poisonous substances produced by some microorganisms. Toxins. Parasitic submicroscopic particle that infects and resides in cells of biological organisms. Virus. Hair-like extensions on cells that make the move. Cilia. The division of bacteria cells into 2 new cells. Binary fission. What are the new cells called after binary fission? Daughter cells. Characterized by redness, heat, pain, and swelling. Inflammation. A fluid created by infection. Pus. This bacteria is responsible for food poisoning and toxic shock syndrome. Staphylococci. This highly resistant bacteria can appear as skin infections such as pustules, rashes, and boils and can be hard to cure. Some people carry the bacteria and not even aware of it. Without proper treatment, this infection can result in death. MRSA, methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. When a disease is spread from one person to another person, contagious disease. This is able to replicate only through taking over a host cell's reproductive functions. Virus. Reaction due to extreme sensitivity to certain foods, chemicals or other normally harmless substances. Allergy. The presence of blood or other potentially infectious materials on an item's surface. Contamination. The removal of blood or other potentially infectious materials on an item's surface. Decontamination. Determination of the nature of a disease from its symptoms and or tests. Diagnosis. This prevents viruses from growing in the body. Vaccines. What is more difficult to kill than germs that live outside the body? Blood-borne pathogens. Which hepatitis is most difficult to kill on a surface? Hepatitis B. What does HIV stand for? Human immunodeficiency virus. What does AIDS stand for? Acquired immune deficiency syndrome. This virus can infect the bottom of the foot and resemble small black dots. HPV, human papillomavirus. Tiny Barbie is also known as barber's itch. Microscopic plant parasites that include mold, mildew and yeast, fungi, another fungus that affects plants or grows on inanimate objects but does not cause human infections in the salon. Mildew. This is the most basic cause of fungal infections, causes skin, hair, and nail infections. Dermatophytes. Tinea pedis or Tinea corporis, also known as ringworm. Inflammation of the hair follicles caused by bacterial infection from ingrown hairs due to shaving. Folliculitis. Tinea versicolor, also known as sunspots. Name 5 ways a pathogenic bacteria, virus or fungi can enter the body. Broken skin, mouth, nose, eyes or ears. Unprotected sex. Contagious skin disease caused by an itch mite that burrows under the skin. Scabies. The ability of the body to destroy and resist infections. Immunity. What is involved with decontamination method 1? Clean then disinfect. What is involved with decontamination method 2? Cleaning then sterilizing. List the levels of decontamination from lowest to highest. Cleaning, disinfecting, sterilization. This is used in the destruction of all microbes through heat and pressure. Autoclave. Any disinfectants used in the salon or spa should carry an _EPA registration number. The process that completely destroys all microbial life, including spores. Sterilization. What does CDC stand for? Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The ability to produce effect. Efficacy. Bleach should be diluted to a _% solution. 10. The number of organisms in or on an object or surface before decontamination or sterilization. Bioburden. The ideal disinfectant would have what? Inexpensive, non-toxic, include strips for efficacy, readily available by manufacturers, EPA approved, environmentally friendly, no odor, non-corrosive. What does QUAT stand for? Quaternary ammonium compound. What are quaternary ammonium compounds? Disinfects that are very effective if used properly. Disinfectant that is also a down of formaldehyde. Phenolic. Detergents that break down stubborn films and remove the residue of products such as scrubs, salts, and masks. Chelating soaps. Germicides formulated for use on skin. Antiseptic. Using the system, workers evaluated each client care situation and applied gloves if there is a risk of contact with visible blood. Universal precautions. Assuming that all blood and body fluids are a source of infection. Standard precautions. Most common method for spreading infection. Through the hands, contact with broken skin, blood or body fluids, or the infectious material. Exposure incident. Shows no symptoms or signs of infection. Asymptomatic. Minor burn affecting only the epidermis, first degree. Burn that affects the top 2 layers. The epidermis and dermis, second degree. Burn that affects all layers of the skin and will blister, swell and scar, third degree. Burns that have injuries to muscle, ligaments, tendons, nerves, blood vessels, and bone, fourth degree. Soap is most easily rinsed off with _water, warm, not hot. Study of the structures of the human body. Anatomy. Study of the functions and activities performed by the body's structures. Physiology. Study of the tiny structures found in living tissue. Microscopic histology. Basic unit of all living things. Cells. Located in a cell, a colorless, jelly-like substance in which food elements such as protein, fats and carbs and water are present. Protoplasm. 3 main organelles, tiny organs, in a cell nucleus. Cytoplasm, cell membrane, dense, active protoplasm found in the center of the cell. Nucleus. What is the fluid within the nucleus that contains proteins and DNA? Nucleoplasm. What does DNA stand for? Deoxyribonucleic acid. All the protoplasm of a cell except that found in the nucleus. Cytoplasm. The part of the cell that encloses the protoplasm and permits soluble substances to enter and leave. Cell membrane. Process of cell reproduction in living tissue that occurs when the cell divides into 2 identical daughter cells. Mitosis. What 2 small structures near the nucleus move to each side during mitosis to help divide the cell? Centrioles. Name the 5 favorable conditions for cell reproduction. Food, water, oxygen, suitable temperature, and ability to eliminate waste. Name 3 unfavorable conditions for cell reproduction. Toxins, disease, and injury. Name the 5 phases for mitosis in order. Interphase, resting, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and back to interphase. A chemical process that takes place in living organisms where the cells are nourished and carry out activities. Metabolism. Metabolism's 2 phases: anabolism and catabolism. Constructive metabolism, process of building up larger molecules from smaller. This process stores water, food and oxygen for when you need it. Anabolism. This phase in which complex compounds within the cells are broken down into smaller ones. Releases storing energy. Catabolism. Collection of similar cells that perform a particular function. Tissue. This tissue supports, protects, and binds together other tissues. Connective tissue. Can you give me some examples of connective tissue? Bone, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, and adipose tissue. This gives smoothness and contour to the body. aka fat adipose tissue. 2 protein fibers located in connective tissue. Elastin and collagen. This tissue is a protective covering on the body surface. Epithelial tissue. Can you give me some examples of epithelial tissue? Skin, mucous membranes, lining of heart, digestive, respiratory organs, and glands. Contracts and moves the various parts of the body. Muscle tissue. Carries messages to and from the brain and controls and coordinates all body functions. Nerve tissue. Nerve tissue is composed of special cells known as neurons. Structures composed of specialized tissues designed to perform specific functions in plants and animal. Organs. Groups of body organs acting together to perform one or more functions. Body systems. This system gives shape and support to the body, protects various internal structures and organs, help produce both white and red blood cells, stores calcium as well as phosphorus, magnesium and sodium. Skeletal system. Study of bones is called osteology. Os means bone. How many bones does a skeleton have? 206. How many joints does the body have? Over 230. Muscles are connected to the bone by what? Tendons. Bones are connected to other bones by what? Ligaments. The connection between 2 or more bones of the skeleton. Joints. 2 types of joints: movable and immovable. Give examples of movable joints: elbow, knees, and hips. Give examples of immovable joints: pelvis, or skull. There are how many bones in the head and what are the 2 groups? 22 cranium and facial bones. Hindmost bone in the skull. It forms the back of the skull above the nape of the neck. Occipital bone. Bones forms the sides and crown, top, of the cranium. 2 parietal bones. Bone that forms the forehead. Frontal bone. Bones that form the sides of the head in the ear region. 2 temporal bones. Light spongy between the eye sockets that form the nasal cavity. Ethmoid bone. Joins all the bones in the cranium together. Sphenoid bone. How many bones in the cranium? 8 bones. How many facial bones? 14. Bones that form the bridge of the nose. Nasal bones. Smallest and most fragile bones of the face, situated at the front inside part of the eye socket. Lacrimal bones, aka molar bones or cheekbones. Zygomatic bones. Bones that form the upper jaw. Maxillary bones. Forms the lower jawbone, largest and strongest bone of the face. Mandible. Thin layers of spongy bone on either of the outer walls of the nasal depression. Turbinal bones. Flat, thin and that forms part of the nasal septum. Vomer bone. Bones that form the hard palate of the mouth. Palatine bones. U-shaped bone at the base of the tongue. Hyoid bone. The 7 bones of the top of the vertebral column located in the neck region. Cervical vertebrae. The chest or pulmonary trunk consisting of the sternum, ribs, and thoracic vertebrae. Thorax. 12 pairs of bones forming the wall of the thorax ribs, aka the shoulder blade. The large, flat, triangular none of the shoulder. Scapula, aka the breastbone. The flat none that forms the ventral, front, support of the rib. Sternum, aka the collarbone, the bone that joins the sternum and the scapular clavicle. Uppermost WTF largest bone of the arm. Elbow to shoulder. Humerus, innermost and larger of the forearm, attached at the wrist on the side of the pinky. Ulna, smaller bone in the forearm on the side with a thumb. Radius, bones of the wrist. Carpals, bones of the palm. Metacarpals, bones of the fingers aka digits. Phalanges. How many muscles in the body? Over 630. Study of the nature, structure, function, and disease of muscles. Myology. Covers, shapes, and supports the skeletal tissue. Muscular system. What percentage of the body is muscle? 40. How many facial muscles? 30, aka skeletal or voluntary muscles. Muscles that are attached to none and moved by will. Striated muscles, aka involuntary or visceral or smooth. Muscles functions automatically. Non-striated muscles. Involuntary muscles that make up the heart. Cardiac muscle. 3 parts of the muscle and describe them. Origin closest to the skeleton. Belly. Middle insertion farthest from the skeleton. Pressure in massage is in what direction? Insertion to origin, aka the occipitofrontalis. Is a broad muscle that covers the top of the scalp. Epicranius. Back of epicranius. Occipitalis. Front part of the epicranius. Frontalis. A tendon that connects the occipitalis and the frontalis. Epicranial. Aponeurosis. Muscles above the ear that draws the ear upwards. Auricularis superior. Muscles in the front of the ear that draws the ear forward. Auricularis anterior. Muscle that behind the ear that draws the air backwards. Auricularis posterior. These 4 muscles of mastication aka chewing muscles. Masseter, temporalis, medial tragoid, and lateral tragoid. Broad muscle extending from the chest and shoulder to the chin. It is responsible for lowering the lower jaw and lip. Platysma, muscle extending along the side of the neck from ear to collarbone. Sternocleidomastoid, muscle located beneath the frontalis and orbicularis oculi. It draws the eyebrow down and wrinkles the forehead vertically. Corrugator, the ring muscle of the eye socket. It closes the eye, orbicularis oculi. Lowers the eyebrows and causes wrinkles across the bridge of the nose. Procerus, 2-part muscle which covers the nose that includes the traverse part and the alar part, which flares your nostrils. Nasalis, thin flat muscle of the cheeks between the upper and lower jaw. Bossinator, aka the triangularis muscle. The muscle extending alongside the chin that pulls down the corners of the mouth. Depressor angularis, aka quadratus labii inferioris. Muscle surrounding the lower lip that depresses it and draws it to one side. Depressor labii inferioris, aka cananis, muscle that raises the angle of the mouth and draws it inward. Levator angularis, aka quadratus labii superioris, muscle that elevates the lip and dilates the nostrils. Levator labii superioris, muscles that elevates the lower lip and raises and wrinkles the skin on the chin. Mentalis, muscle that is a flat band around the upper and lower lips that compresses, contracts, pucker, and wrinkles the lips. Orbicularis oris, muscle that draws the corner of the mouth out and back as in grinning. Rhizarius, muscles extending from the zygomatic bone to the angle of the mouth that elevates the lip, as in laughing. Zygomaticus major and minor, large, flat, triangular muscle that covers the lower back latissimus dorsi. Muscles of the chest that assist in the swinging movement of the arm pectoralis major and minor. Muscle of the chest that assist with breathing and in raising the arm serratus anterior. Muscle covers the back of the neck, shoulders, and upper and middle region of the back. Trapezius. Muscles produce the contour of the front and inner side of the upper arm, lifts forearm, flex elbow, and turns the palm outward. Biceps. Large, triangular muscle covering the shoulder joint that allows the arm to extend outward and be to the side of the body. Deltoid. Large muscle that covers the entire back of the upper arm and extends the forearm. Triceps. Muscles that straighten the wrist, hand, and fingers to form a straight line. Extensors. Extensor muscles of the wrist are involved with flexing the wrist. Flexors. Muscles that turn the hand inward so the palm faces downward. Pronators. Muscle rotates the radius outward and the palm upward. Supinator. Muscles that draw a body part away the midlife of the body. Separates fingers. Abductors. Muscles that draw a body part inward toward the midlife of the body. Draws fingers together. Adductors. Exceptionally well-organized system that is responsible for coordinating all the many activities that are performed by the body. Nervous system. Study of structure, function, and pathology of the nervous system is. Neurology. Consists of the brain, spinal cord, spinal nerves, and cranial nerves. Central nervous system. System of nerves that connects the outer parts of body to the central nervous system, has sensory and motor nerves. Peripheral nervous system. Part of the nervous system that controls the involuntary muscles. Autonomic nervous system. Stimulates or speeds up activity and prepares the body for stressful situations. Sympathetic division. Operates under normal, non-stressful conditions and helps restore and slow down activity, thus keeping the body in balance. Parasympathetic division. Largest, most complex mass of nerve tissue in the body. Brain. The four main parts of the brain: cerebrum, cerebellum, the diencephalon, and the brain stem, controls sensation, muscles, glandular activity, and the power to think and feel. The brain makes up the bulk of the brain, located in the front, upper part of the brain. Cerebrum, part of the brain that has an inner core of white matter, composed of bundles of axons each coated with a sheath of myelin, and core of gray matter, composed of masses of cell bodies and dendrites. Cerebrum. This is part of the cerebrum from which most messages from the brain are sent, such as those conveying thought, hearing, and sight. Cerebral cortex, Latin for little brain. Cerebellum, lies at the base of the cerebrum and is attached to the brain stem. Cerebellum. This acts to control movement, coordinate voluntary muscular activity, and maintain balance and equilibrium. Cerebellum. Diencephalon is made up of two parts: thalamus, hypothalamus. Located in the upper part of the diencephalon, acts as a relay station for sensory impulses and plays a role in the recognition of pain and temperature in the body. Thalamus. Located in the lower part of the diencephalon, controls mainly bodily functions such as body temperature, and controls the pituitary gland. Hypothalamus. Connects the spinal cord to the brain stem. Brain stem consists of three parts: midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. This is involved in regulating such vital functions as breathing, heartbeat, and blood pressure. Brain stem. Continuation of the brain stem and originates in the brain, extends down to the lower extremity of the trunk, and is protected by the spinal column. Spinal cord. Primary structural unit of the nervous system. Neuron. Nerve fibers extending from the nerve cell that receives impulses from mother neurons. Dendrites. Sends impulses away from the cell body to other neurons, glands, or muscles. Axon. Afferent nerves carry impulse messages from the sense organs to the brain. Touch, cold, heat, sight, hearing, taste, smell, pain, and pressure. Sensory nerves. Efferent nerves carry impulses from the brain to the muscles or glands. Produces movement. Motor nerves. Automatic nerve reaction to a stimulus. A reflex. How many pairs of cranial nerves are there? 12. Estheticians are primarily concerned with which cranial nerves? 5, 7, 11. Largest cranial nerves, aka fifth, trifacial. This nerve affects the skin of the forehead. upper eyelid, and anterior portion of the scalp, orbit, eyeballing nasal passages, ophthalmic nerve, nerve that affects the muscles of the chin and lower lip mandibular nerve, nerve that affects the upper part of the face, maxillary nerve, nerve that affects the external ear and skin of the temples, up to the top of the skull auriculotemporal nerve, nerve that affects the membrane and skin of the nose, infratracheal nerve, nerve that affects the skin of the lower eyelid, side of nose, upper lip, and mouth, infraorbital nerve, nerves that affect the skin of the lower lip and chin mental nerves, nerve that affects point and lower side of the nose nasal nerve, nerve that affects the skin of the forehead, scalp, eyebrow, and upper eyelid, supraorbital nerve, nerve that affects the skin, between the eyes and upper side of the nose supratracheal nerve. This nerve affects the upper part of the cheeks, zygomatic nerves, aka the facial nerves, is the chief motor nerve of the face. 7th cranial nerve. This nerve affects the muscles of the mouth buccal nerve. This nerve affects the side of the neck and the platysmal muscle. Cervical nerves. This nerve affects the muscles behind the ear at the base of the skull posterior auricular nerve. This nerve affects the muscles of the temple, side of the forehead, eyebrow, eyelid, and upper part of the cheek temporal nerve. Accessory nerve. Motor nerve that controls the motion of the neck and shoulder muscles 11th cranial nerve. This nerve is located at the side of the neck, affects the front and sides of the neck as far down as the breastbone. Cervical cutaneous nerve. This nerve is located at the side of the neck, affects the face, ears, neck, and parotid gland greater auricular nerve. This nerve is located at the back of the head, affects the scalp as far as the top of the head. Greater occipital nerve. This nerve is located at the case of the skull, affects the scalp and muscles behind the ear. Smaller occipital nerve. Sensory motor nerve that supplies the fingers. Digital nerves. Sensory motor nerve that supplies the thumb side of the arm and back of the hand. Radial nerve. Smaller sensory motor nerve than the ulnar and radial nerve. Supplies the arm and hand median nerve. Sensory motor nerve that affects the little finger side of the arm and palm of the hand. Ulnar nerve, aka the cardiovascular system, control the steady circulation of the blood through the body by means of the heart and blood vessels. Circulatory system, often referred to the body's pump heart, muscular cone-shaped organ that keeps the blood moving within the circulatory system heart. Membrane that encloses the heart pericardium. The heat weighs how much? 9 ounces. Heartbeat is regulated by vagus nerve or 10th cranial nerve. Normal resting heartbeat 72 to 80 beats per minute. Heart contains how many chambers and valves? 4 and 4. Upper left and right chambers of the heart atrium. Lower left and right chambers of the heart ventricles. Between the chambers allow the blood to flow in one direction. Valves sends the blood from the heart to the lungs to be oxygenated. Pulmonary circulation carries the oxygenated blood from the heart throughout the body and to the heart again. Systemic or general circulation. Flow of into the heart that's at the _atrium and ends at the _atrium right, left. Tube-like structure that include the arteries, arterioles, capillaries, venules, and veins. Blood vessels. These blood vessels are found in deep tissue. Arteries. These blood vessels are found closer to the surface of the skin. Veins. Thick-walled, muscular, flexible tinea that carry oxygenated blood away from the heat to the arterioles. Arteries, responsible for purifying the body by eliminating waste matter. Excretory system, small arteries that deliver blood to the capillaries. Arterioles, this organ excretes urine. Kidneys, this organ discharges bile. Liver, tiny thin-walled blood vessels that connect the small arteries to venules. Brings nutrients to cells and carries out waste. Capillaries, small vessels that connect the capillaries to the veins. Venules, this organ eliminates perspiration. Skin, thin-walled blood vessels that are less elastic than arteries. Contain cup-like valves that keep the blood flowing in one direction to heart to prevent backflow. Veins, this organ eliminates decomposed and undigested food. Large intestine, exhales carbon dioxide. Lungs, nutritive fluid circulating through the circulatory system and considered connective tissue. Blood, how much blood is in the body? 8 to 10 pints. enables breathing and consists of the lungs and air passages. Respiratory system, spongy tissue composed of microscopic cells in which inhaled air is exchanged for carbon dioxide during one's breathing cycle. Lungs, blood accounts for how much of our body weight? 1/10. Respiratory system is protected by what? Ribs. What percent of blood is water? 83%. Muscular wall that separates the thorax from the abdominal region. Controls breathing diagram. Average body temp 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. This system is made up of skin and other accessory organs. Integumentary system. Blood is _red in the arteries bright. Blood is _red in veins dark. The word integument means natural covering. The science that deals with the composition, structure, and the properties of matter and how matter changes under different conditions. Chemistry. Blood is composed of what four things? Red blood cells, white blood cells, plasma, and platelets. The study of substances that contain the element carbon. Organic chemistry, aka erythrocytes, red blood vessels. 5 examples of organic chemistry. Manufactured from natural gas or oil, gasoline, plastic, synthetic fabrics, pesticides, fertilizer, aka leukocytes, white blood cells. Cells function to carry oxygen to the body cells. Red blood cells. Branch of chemistry dealing with compounds that do not contain the element carbon but may contain the element hydrogen. Substances that were never alive. Inorganic chemistry. Metal, minerals, glass, pure water, and air are examples of inorganic chemistry. A complex iron protein that gives the blood its bright red color, hemoglobin. Any substance that occupies space and mass, matter. Cell's function is to destroying disease-causing germs. White blood cells. All matter are in what 3 forms? Solid, liquid, gas, aka thrombocytes, platelets. Simplified form of chemical matter element. Small than red blood cells. Contribute to the blood clotting process. Platelets. Fluid part of blood in which the red and white blood cells and platelets flow. Plasma. How many naturally occurring elements are there? 90. Plasma is what percent of water? 90%. Elements are identified by what letter symbols? Particles from which all matter is composed. Atom. Plasma contains water and what other 3 things? Protein, sugars, and oxygen. What is plasma's main function? Carry food and secretions to the cells and to take carbon dioxide away from the cells. What are the charges for protons, neutrons, and electrons? Positive, neutral, negative. Formed by joining 2 or more atoms chemically. Molecule. Main source of blood supply to the head, face, and neck. Common carotid arteries. Supplies blood to the brain, eyes, eyelids, forehead, nose and internal ear. Internal carotid artery. Contains 2 or more atoms of the same element. Elemental molecule. Contains 2 or more atoms of different elements. Compound element. Supplies blood to the anterior or front parts of the scalp, ear, face, neck and sides of the head. External carotid artery. Colorless, odorless, tasteless, have hydrogen. Vital factor of the circulatory and immune system and is made up of lymph nodes and thymus gland, spleen, and lymph vessels that act to aid the blood system, lymphatic or immune system. The most abundant element on Earth, oxygen. This system protects the body from disease by developing immunities and destroying disease-causing microorganisms. Lymphatic or immune system. Colorless, gaseous element. Nitrogen. A colorless, watery fluid derived from the blood plasma as a result of filtration through the capillary walls into the tissue space. Lymph. Consists of 1 part oxygen and 4 parts nitrogen air. Blood plasma found between the tissue cells. Interstitial fluid. Most common ingredient in cosmetics. Water. Lymphatic vessels are filtered by which are gland-like structures found inside the vessel. Lymph nodes. Group of specialized glands that affect the growth, development, sexual activity, and health of the entire body. Endocrine system. What percentage of the human body is water? 65%. Specialized organs that remove certain elements of the body to convert them into deny compounds. Glands. Colorless liquid with slightly acidic taste. Hydrogen peroxide. Who invented the pH scale and when? Danish biochemist Søren Sørensen 1909. Two main types of glands: endocrine ductless and exocrine duct. What does pH stand for? Quantity of hydrogen ions. This stimulates the functional activity or secretion in other parts of the body. Insulin, adrenaline, estrogen hormones. An atom or molecule that carries an electrical charge. Ion plays a major role in the sexual development, sleep and metabolism. Pineal gland causes an atom or a molecule to split into two, creating a pair of ions with opposite electrical charge. Ionization, most complex organ in the endocrine system. Pituitary gland, ion with a negative electrical charge. Anion. This gland affects almost every physiologic process of the body. Growth, blood pressure, contractions during birth, breast milk production, sexual organ functions, thyroid gland functions, conversion of food to energy, metabolism. Pituitary gland, ion with the positive charge electrical charge cation, controls how quickly the body burns energy. Metabolism, makes proteins, and how sensitive the body should be to other hormones. Thyroid, only products that contain _ can have a pH. Water, regulates blood calcium and phosphorus levels so that the nervous and muscular system can function properly. Parathyroid gland, hydrogen ion, H+, is _. The more hydrogen ions in a substance, the more _acidic. Secretes enzyme-producing cells that are responsible for digesting carbs, proteins, and fats. Controls insulin and glucagon production. Pancreas, hydroxide ion, O, is _. The more hydroxide ions there is in a substance, the more _ alkaline, secretes 30 steroid hormones and control metabolic process of the body, including the fight or flight response. Adrenal gland, dot. Responsible for changing food into nutrients and waste. Digestive system aka gastrointestinal system, chemicals that change certain kinds of food into a form that can be used by the body. Digestive enzymes, eating, taking food into the body. Ingestion, moving food along the digestive tract. Peristalsis, breakdown of food by mechanical and chemical means. Digestion, the digested food into the circulatory system for transportation to the tissue and cells. Absorption, elimination of waste from the body. Defecation, the movement of particles around an atom that creates pure energy. Electricity, the flow of electricity along a conductor in a complete circuit. Electric circuit, material that easily conducts electricity. Conductor, a substance that does not conduct electricity. Insulator, the path of negative and positive electric currents moving from the generating source through the conductor and back to the generating source or to the ground. Complete electric circuit, constant, even flow current that travels in one direction only. Needs batteries. Direct current, and apparatus that changes direct current to alternating current. Converter, rapid and interrupted current, flowing first in one direction then in the opposite direction. Needs plug. Alternating current, apparatus that changes an alternating current in a direct current. Rectifier, measures the pressure or force that pushes the flow of electrons forward through a conductor. Volt, the unit that measures the amount of an electric current. Amp, milliampere, 1/1000th of an amp, unit that measures the resistance of an electric current. Ohm, a measure of how much electric energy is being used in 1 second. Watt, an applicator for directing the electric current from the device to the client's skin. Electrode, modality with a constant or indirect current. Galvanic current, the process of introducing water-soluble products into the skin with the use of electric current. Ionophoresis, refers to infusing a positive or acid product into the skin with the use of electric current. Cataphoresis, process of infusing a negative or alkaline into the skin with electric current. Anaphoresis, a form of anaphoresis that softens and emulsify grease deposits. Blackheads in the hair follicle. Deincrustation, extremely low level of electrical current that mirrors the body's own natural electrical impulses. Microcurrent, thermal or heat-producing current with a high rate of vibration. Violet ray Tesla high-frequency current, form of energy that travels through space in waves, has both electric and magnetic properties. Electromagnetic spectrum, Electromagnetic radiation that we can see, aka radiant energy, visible light. At either end of the visible spectrum there is underscore that cannot be seen by the naked eye. Invisible light. The distance between successive peaks. Wavelength. 3 characteristics of long wavelength: low frequency, penetrate deeper, have less energy. 3 characteristics of short wavelength: high frequency, penetrate less, have more energy. Longer wavelength, penetrates deeper, less energy, produces more heat. Makes up 60% of natural light. Infrared light. Microbe is another term for bacteria. What is the lowest level of decontamination and infection control? Sanitation. When washing your hands, how long should you scrub after lathering with soap? 30-60 seconds. An incident report would contain which type of information? Route of exposure, circumstances surrounding the event of exposure, source of exposure. A burn that injures the muscle and bones is considered a _degree burn. 4th. Which type of hepatitis is the most difficult to kill on a surface? Type B. When is it acceptable to put product that has been removed with the spatula back into the jar? Never. Bacteria multiply best in places that are warm. Scabies is caused by animal parasite. The _cranial nerve is the chief motor nerve of the face. 7th. The human body has how many bones? 206. The cervical nerves originate at the spinal cord. Which of these is a function of the skeletal system? Provides the shape and form for the body. Protects the internal organs. Blood production. Non-striated muscles are also known as what kind of muscles? Involuntary, visceral, smooth. How many muscles are in your face? 30. Massaging the _nerve affects the skin of the lower eyelid, side of the nose, upper lip, and mouth. Infrared. What is a function of the blood? Help equalize the body's temperature. The average brain weighs about 46 pounds. Oxygen is colorless, odorless, and tasteless. What is the lightest element known? Hydrogen. What has neither a definite size nor a definite shape? Gas. The skin's protective barrier against certain forms of bacteria and microorganisms is called the acid mantle. When free radicals cause an oxidation reaction, they also produce a new free radical. Soaps are highly alkaline. Solutions are usually transparent. If a substance is hydrophilic, it is considered water-loving. One advantage of OW emulsions is that they are easily rinsed away with water. Water in oil emulsions usually contain a smaller amount of water and a greater amount of oil. The early Hebrews used myrrh in powder form to repel fleas. Which culture determined a person's beauty by how she looked when naked? The Greeks. Your career options as an esthetician include day spa esthetician, salon manager, and makeup artist. The grooming rituals of the early Hebrew were based on the principle that their bodies were gifts to be cared for. What does a state licensing inspector do? Inspect salons to ensure state rules and regulation are being followed. Modesty was greatly valued during which era? The Victorian Age. You are most likely to see the word esthetician used in which environment? Medical setting. Which civilization is believed to have been the first to cultivate beauty in an extravagant fashion? Egyptians. A common purpose for seeking camouflage therapy is to disguise the effects of an accident. What practice was common during the Renaissance? Shaving or tweezing the eyebrows and hairline. Underscore is one of the mediums commonly used with lasers. Gas. Far-out currents should be used no longer than 15-20 minutes. A cathode is usually marked with this symbol, negative symbol. Microcurrent works by mimicking the way the brain relays messages to the muscles. Which type of UV ray penetrates directly into the dermis and damages collagen and fibrils? UVA. Which of these is a counterindication for electrotherapy? Epilepsy, diabetes, dilated capillaries. The process of forcing acidic substances into deeper tissues using galvanic current is called cataphoresis. Sinusoidal current is generally used on which parts of the body? Face and scalp. Folate is also known as folic acid. Fiber is made of a carbohydrate called cellulose. What is the #1 cause of daytime fatigue? Lack of water. Increasing your fiber intake helps to improve digestion. A poorly balanced diet can lead to skin disorders, fatigue, Some diseases. Which vitamin helps to diminish spider veins? Vitamin K. Rickets is believed to result from a deficiency of vitamin D. The best way to lose weight is to exercise and adopt a healthy diet. In general, you should consume the equivalent of how much sodium each day, a little less than a teaspoon. If you are going to be outdoors, you should wear a moisturizer with SPF 30 protection. Try to avoid exposure between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Apply sunscreen liberally after swimming or sweating heavily. Estrogen used in hormone replacement therapy can come from plants or animals. The process of removing dead surface skin cells is called exfoliating. Excessive intake of alcohol does what to your body? Dilates the blood vessels. The primary cause of wrinkles is the damage and loss of elastin. Collagen is produced by fibroblasts. What are appendages of the skin? Hair, nails, sweat glands, and oil glands. Each inch of skin contains about how many nerve endings? 1,300. The uppermost layer of the epidermis is the stratum corneum. Sensory nerve fibers are most abundant in the fingertips. Which type of hair responds best to laser treatments? Dark, coarse hair. What is the thread used in threading made of? 100% cotton. Electronic tweezer work by the popola dehydrating. Hard waxes are available in blocks, discs, pellets, or beads. What is the falling out stage of hair growth? Cuticle. The thick, club-shaped structure that forms the lower part of the hair root is the hair bulb. A woman growing hair on her chest is an example of hypertrichosis. What is the purpose of applying a prep solution to an area that is going to be waxed? To clean and sanitize the skin. What is Isoline? An after-wax soothing product. It's important to remember that wax may stick if the skin is either too dry or too cold. A nodule is an example of a primary lesion. Recognizing skin diseases and disorders is important for the protection of both the technician and the client. Which of these is a common symptom of irritant contact dermatitis? Redness, swelling and scaling. Hyperhidrosis can be caused by heat, genetics, or body weakness. Vascular lesions are tertiary lesions. Sebaceous hyperplasia lesions are benign lesions frequently seen in oilier areas of the face. Excessive underscore in food are excreted through pores and irritate them. Iodides. What is the most common form of skin cancer? Basal cell carcinoma. How does stress affect acne? Stress can cause or worsen acne breakouts. What happens the first time a person is exposed to a new allergen? No allergic reaction. What is a characteristic of alpha-lipoic acid? It is found in every cell in the body. Dimethicone is an example of a silicone, a type of humectant. Seaweed. Soap is not recommended as a cleanser because it can leave a film on the skin. Cleansing cream is used primarily to dissolve makeup and dirt. The main type of surfactants used in skin cleansing products are detergents. When choosing a product line, it's important to consider the quality of the ingredients. The removal of dead epidermal cells is called exfoliation. Cleansers should be used as the first step in a skincare routine. Twice a day. Which type of toner usually has the lowest alcohol content? Fresheners. Which UV rays are mainly absorbed by the ozone layer? UVC. Clients with pacemakers or heart irregularities should avoid electric treatment. The T-zone is the area made up of the forehead, nose, and chin. For conditions such as hyperpigmentation, visible results can take weeks or months to appear. Oily skin is prone to blemishes. Compared to UV rays, UVB rays are stronger. Which of these is a common skin condition seen by estheticians today? Adult acne, actinic aging from sun damage, and problems from hormonal fluctuations. From the center of the face, if you can see the pore size change from medium to larger just outside the T-zone on the cheeks next to the nose, this is a skin type. Combination. Which type of product works best for combination skin? Water-based. What has an intrinsic effect on the skin? Vitamin deficiency. What is the most noticeable symptom of telangiectasis? Redness. Sagging skin is a sign of poor elasticity. Sunburns and skin cancers are primarily caused by UVB. A person with keratosis has A rough patch of skin. What is the second step in the skin analysis process? Cleansing the skin. Solar comedones are large blackheads found where? Around the eyes. Which food is a natural source of antioxidants? Berries. Skin is considered dry if it does not produce enough oil. Dehydrated skin can be caused by internal or external factors. On which part of the face would you perform massage? Cheeks. When performing massage, how much pressure should you use with your hands? An equal amount for both hands. Which type of massage involves a rubbing movement? Friction. Percussion is another name for which type of massage? Tapotement. When performing the taping component of the facial massage, you should avoid the jawbone. What is the main purpose of a cleansing massage? To continue the cleaning process, help remove dead surface cells, and stimulate the skin. How does the technician create movement when using vibration? With the body and shoulders. To maintain soft skin, you should keep your hands exfoliated. Name the types of friction movement: chucking, rolling, and ringing. Where can you start a facial massage? Massage may be started on either the chin, décolleté, or forehead. Normal healthy skin appears as which color under a wood lamp? Blue-white. If there is argon gas in the electrode, when electricity passes through it, it may emit light. Blue. At the end of the day, you should clean the hot cubby and leave the door open overnight. Which type of products are used for desincrustation? Alkaline. When using a steamer, at what point should you turn on the ozone switch? After steam is visible. How long does a steam treatment ordinarily last? 6–10 minutes. Ozone consists of 3 oxygen atoms. O3 is created after a lightning storm and has antiseptic qualities. Which of these is a benefit to steaming the skin? It softens debris. A wood lamp uses a filtered light. Filtered black light that is used to illuminate fungi, bacterial disorders, pigmentation problems, and other skin problems. A well-constructed and well-maintained magnifying lamp can last up to 10 years. What are the benefits of peels? Peels improve the barrier function, moisture retention, elastin, and collagen production. Peels also reduce fine lines, wrinkles, and pigmentation. After treatments, skin looks and feels smoother and softer. Microdermabrasion came to the United States in the mid-1990s. Synthetic sources of dermal fillers include hyaluronic acid and silicone. You should not apply more than weekly peels in a row for a client. 8. Peels are not recommended in the summer. The sun is stronger, so peels are not recommended during those months. What is the average rate of cell turnover for adults in their 30s? The average rate of cell turnover for babies is 14 days. For teenagers, 21–28 days. For adults, 28–42 days. For those 50 and older, 40–48 days. The keratinized corneum layer is composed of approximately layers 15–20. Cellulite is a common affliction for women, and improving the health of the skin is a constant process. The range of wavelengths used in light therapy are visible, infrared, and far infrared. Skin care therapists use procedures designed to penetrate the epidermis. To succeed in a service profession, you need to maintain a professional appearance, be honest about the products and services you provide, and maintain a positive attitude. To help gain control of the test situation, you should read content carefully and become an active studier, review tests or quizzes taken as part of your coursework, and pay attention to any tips offered by your instructors. To help avoid liability issues, ideally, one should have the opportunity to practice using a new product or treatment several times under direct supervision before administering it to a paying customer. This helps businesses to avoid more costly errors and avoids liability issues. A common drawback to going to work for a small independently owned skin care clinic or day spa is that there are usually fewer benefits. During a job interview, the potential employer is not permitted to ask you your age or date of birth, race, religion, national origin, marital status, disabilities, medical conditions or health problems, and citizenship status. On test day you should read all written directions carefully before you begin. Save difficult questions or ones you are unsure of for last, and answer as many questions as possible. What should you bring with you on the day of your interview? A copy of your resume, your portfolio, ID. Which of these is an all-inclusive spa retreat that offers patrons a wide range of health, beauty, and wellness programs? The Destination Spa is an all-inclusive spa retreat that offers patrons a wide range of health, beauty and wellness programs, such as fitness, nutrition, massage, skin care, beauty treatments, educational classes, and more. The first step in financial planning is keeping track of where your money goes. If you work under a booth rental agreement, you pay. As a booth renter, you are responsible for paying all taxes associated with being self-employed, including higher Social Security taxes, double that of an employee, twice the amount. Effective management and underscore skills are most important to good public relations. Communication. Loan payments are an example of fixed costs. What is an example of retail supplies? Items available for sale to clients are referred to as retail supplies. To help you keep good records, it is recommended that you hire a professional accountant and an bookkeeper. Employees should be able to find dress code information in the employee manual. To help yourself be a good business manager, you should making a list of all of the functions that are necessary to operate your salon successfully. Inventory tracking is recommended because it helps you to prevent shortages, avoid overstacking, and alert you to any signs of pilfering. Your business plan should include a detailed explanation of how you will finance and manage your business. The average adult heart weighs about 9 ounces. The underscore system is made up of a series of glands. Endocrine, which is a main bone of the neck. The main bone of the neck is the hyoid bone, a U-shaped bone at the base of the tongue that supports the tongue and its muscles. The internal and external jugular are located in the neck. The blood vessels include arteries, capillaries, and veins. The infraorbital artery supplies blood to the muscles of the eye. Where are your phalanges, fingers? The smallest and most fragile bones of the face are the underscore bones. Lacrimal, underscore receive impulses from mother neurons. Dendrites. In what phase of metabolism are complex compounds within the cell broken down into smaller ones? Catabolism. All living things, whether plant or animal, contain carbon. When underscore is removed from a substance, the substance is considered reduced. Oxygen. There are about underscore naturally occurring elements. 90. Uniform mixtures of 2 or more mutually mixable substances are called solutions. When water becomes ice, it undergoes a physical change. What does pH stand for? Potential hydrogen of a substance is its relative degree of acidity or alkalinity, and is measured on a scale of 0 to 14. When 2 or more atoms are joined chemically, they form an molecule. Simple carbohydrates are commonly found in sweets, syrups, honey, fruits, candy, and many vegetables. Fats are a type of macronutrients are the 3 basic food groups: proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. How many calories are in a single gram of fat? 9. About how much of your diet should consist of protein? 20%. In which type of food would you generally find linoleic acid? Corn oil. Linoleic acid is found in oils made from safflower, sunflower, corn, soybean, borage, and flaxseed. Hypoglycemia results from a lack of carbohydrates. All essential amino acids can be found in proteins. Contain all essential amino acids. Medical conditions is caused by a virus. Viruses cause the common cold, influenza, herpes, measles, chickenpox, smallpox, hepatitis, polio, and AIDS. Antiseptics are weaker than disinfectants and safe for application to the skin. When a client gets product in the eye, you should gently flush the eye with water for 15 minutes. Pus contains. Pus is a fluid created by tissue inflammation, and contains white blood cells, bacteria, and dead cells. Long-term exposure to formaldehyde can potentially lead to asthma-type symptoms, cancer, skin irritation, and rash. The body fights infection by means of body secretions, such as perspiration and digestive juices. The angular artery supplies blood to the side of the nose. The two cells that are created in mitosis are called daughter cells, which cranial nerve is the largest. Fifth one is a type of underscore tissue, connective. Protoplasm contains water. Where in the body would you find an atrium? The heart. The fight or flight response is controlled by which glands? Adrenal glands. Which organ discharges bile? The liver discharges bile. The median nerve supplies the arm and hand. The underscore is the muscle that draws the scalp backward. Occipitalis, way in which hormones affect the skin, acne, facial hair color and growth, and pigmentation of the skin. An average adult body contains about underscore quarts of water. 45. The underscore bone forms the forehead. Frontal, which part of the blood is primarily responsible for clotting? Platelets. Here are red blood cells produced in red bone marrow. Which type of nerves carry impulses from the brain to the muscles? Motor nerves. The sternocleidomastoidus is the muscle that rotates the head. Blood is approximately underscore water, 80%. Which muscle is used to pucker the lips? Orbicularis oris. How many pairs of spinal nerves extend from the spinal cord and are distributed to the muscles and skin of the trunk and limbs? 31. Which nerve supplies the thumb side of the arm and the back of the hand? Radial nerve. The difference in the three states of matter depends primarily on temperature. Matter occupies space and has mass. Air generally consists of 1 part oxygen and 4 parts nitrogen. A underscore is a measurement of how much electric energy is being used in 1 second. Watt. Pitch color light is used to improve acne and skin tone. Blue light. A typical wall socket designed for use with small items such as hair dryers is underscore volts. 110. A wall plate produces different types of electric currents called underscore, which are used for facial and scalp treatments. Modalities. The goal of using microcurrent is to speed up the natural regenerative processes of the body. In an indirect high-frequency current application, what do you do with the tube electrode? Have the client hold it. The anode is usually what color? Red. Invisible rays make up about underscore of natural sunlight, 65%. Which type of light is referred to as combination light? White light. Electricity is a form of energy. Starches are also known as complex carbohydrates. Couperose veins can be caused by elementary, digestive problems, harsh cosmetics, and heat-cold fluctuations. Products that contain vitamin A or alpha-hydroxy acids can reduce visible signs of aging by stimulating cell turnover. People with which natural hair color are particularly susceptible to sun damage. Red. Products that suppress melanin production by interrupting biochemical processes are referred to as brightening agents. The skin repairs itself through hyperproduction of cells and blood clotting. Damage to the barrier layer can cause many skin problems, including sensitivities, aging, and dehydration. If a client has herpes zoster, he or she has shingles. Hat causes the dark color in a blackhead. Oxidation. Skin cancer tumors form when cells divide rapidly and unevenly. A port wine stain is a birthmark. Aesthetosis can be caused by aesthetosis is dry, scaly skin from sebum deficiency. It can be due to aging, body disorders, alkalis of harsh soaps, or cold exposure. Ethnic skin types contain underscore than Caucasian skin types. More melanin. The Fitzpatrick scale is used to measure a skin type's ability to tolerate sun exposure. The common term for sodium bicarbonate is baking soda. What are chelating agents used for? To preserve cosmetics. Emulsifiers are used to combine oil and water. Which of these guards the inside of cells and DNA? Vitamin C. OAPs can be combined with detergents to create cleansers. Dipotassium glycerase 8 is more commonly known as licorice root. When categorizing facial skincare products, ampules are generally grouped together with serums. What are lipids used for? Lipids are used to improve hydration, plumpness, and smoothness of the skin. What is the benefit of using peppermint oil? It helps increase circulation. Free radicals are molecules that have lost Free radicals have lost an electron and need to steal electrons from other molecules, thereby damaging the cells from which they steal. Polyglucans and beta-glucans are generally derived from yeast cells and have a natural affinity for the skin. Which type of mask heats up after it is applied? Modelage masks. Collagen is a protein derived from animals or synthetically manufactured. Natural source of salicylic acid, sweet birch, willow bark, and wintergreen. Fatty acids that have been exposed to hydrogen are called fatty alcohols. Soot-off folliculitis results from, often referred to as razor bumps, resembles folliculitis without the pus. This condition results from improper shaving techniques. Before performing desincrustation with galvanic current, you should cover the electrode that the client will hold with dampened cotton gauze. What is a loop? A magnifying lamp. If a procedure is non-ablative, it does not remove any tissue. Botox registered is derived from Botox registered is derived from botulism type A bacteria. For a peel product to be effective, acid needs to have a pH lower than the skin's pH to be effective. Ultrasound technology in aesthetics is used for product penetration and for cellulite reduction.